Good evening, everyone. We are late in the evening. I'll try to keep it short and hopefully make it meaningful for everyone. So while the presentation is starting, let me just cover what we are going to talk about. So the topic today is shaping recognition for the year of 2024 and beyond. So before starting on the topic, let's understand how employee needs have evolved over the years. So when you talk about employment, maybe 30, 40 years back, it was about survival. Everyone worked to earn money so that maybe they can feed their family, get the roti kapda makan, which was the basic in that era. Then probably a decade back, or a couple of decades back, that became normal. And people started looking for security. And that's where companies like ONGC, a lot of government companies, became the most hotshot employers, because from an employee point of view, security became the most important thing. Then I would say in my 20s era, now I'm in mid-30s, so I don't probably belong to this generation, it was more about belongingness, which meant whether my voice is getting heard or not, whether I'm connected to the organization's purpose or not. But today, the world has moved much beyond that. That is taken for granted. Today, the employees who are working in the organization, all the millennials, the Zoomers, the Boomers, they expect that they would be recognized for doing the job. They will be given importance at the job. And we expect this era to only go on for next few years, because today if you look at the kids, like today's kid expect to be applauded for eating their food. Even there's a KG graduation ceremony, there's a 5th standard graduation ceremony. The only graduation ceremony I had in my life was for my master's. And my parents didn't attend that, saying that if you've joined the master's, you will complete it. So what's the big deal in it? So the world has transformed from that era to this. And in next 10 years or so, I think we'll move more towards self-actualization, where the job will go beyond the job and it will be more about fulfilling a human's purpose. And probably people will start seeking for that. But before we get there, probably we'll be able to live with importance and recognition. Now, let's look at what is the hallmark of a fulfilling experience at work. So today, if you look at from an employee's need, first of all, they want to be recognized for the job that they're doing. Secondly, they want to build meaningful relationship with both their peers as well as the job that they have. And third, they want to be respected. Whether we are talking about a manager-employee or for that matter, even a company, supplier, any relationship, no one likes to bend over today. It's a partnership of equals, it's a partnership of intellectual, and people love to be treated that way. And the last one, of course, everyone loves reward, and it's given in the world. And reward means, of course, your salary, but also what I get beyond that is typically every employee expects at the workplace today. So let's also understand what is the business impact of reward and recognition. We also have so many CEOs, CEOs in the audience. So let me make the job a little easier for the HRs here. That a recognized employee is 4x more engaged, which means they'll be a lot more productive. Secondly, in our own study that we have done with more than 4 million employees, luckily I run an organization called as Advantage Club. We are operating with more than 4 million employees for their recognition. And we have seen in our survey and the data that the people who get recognized on the platform, their retention rates are 55% better than anyone who is not recognized. And those are astounding numbers if you look from business bottom line perspective. Secondly, even more interesting fact is that if an employee is recognized by their manager as well as their peer, then the difference in attrition is almost 78%. And that's huge from companies' profitability point of view. Now, what it takes to build a robust reward and recognition program. So there are 4 steps. First is assess and align. Second, be relevant to today's world. Third, build a culture of recognition, which is one of the hardest jobs. And fourth is to review and renew your recognition policies. Now, when you're assessing your employee needs, it's important to understand what are you focused on. Like first, of course, morale. What is the morale of the employees? Is that something that people are enjoying doing the work? Can it be made much better? Second, do people feel pride for their workplace? Third, do people believe that managers are fair, the way the project allocation is happening, the way the comp is there, the way the recognition is happening? Is there fairness? This is an opportunity to show fairness whenever you're creating a recognition policy. Fourth, is there a sense of belongingness? Whether people value my ideas, whether my work has any impact on the company's purpose or not. And fifth is responsibility. Are people exuding that? If they're not, then how can we make that happen using our reward recognition program? And sixth, do people have self-esteem? because giving someone recognition can really elevate their own self-confidence, and you will see the difference in the output. You'll also get more people aligned to your cultural values if you do this right. Now, the moment you start thinking about doing reward and recognition, one of the hardest jobs is to align the entire organization. In the beginning of the slide, in the presentation, we spoke about the difference in generation and their expectation. Now, the problem is that most of the supervisor or leaders belong to earlier generation, and their expectations are very different from the employees who are out there. And like AMA, the American Management Association, did a survey on this and found very interesting result. So an employee expects the biggest satisfaction they can get out of their job is when they're given credit or due for their job, when they're recognized for their job. Second, if their job is interesting to them. Third, if they're getting fair pay. But when you talk to supervisors, we all believe that all the employees are only working for money, which is not the reality. That's their third priority and not the first priority. Again, because of the generational gap, people believe that job security is more important. But that's the eighth priority for a youngster today. We are living in an era where a lot of employees earn almost as much as salary by making TikTok reels or Instagram reels. So job security is not their concern. So it's very important that we align our management as well as leaders to what actually the employee wants. Now, moving on to how do you make a relevant program? So recognition is not a one-day activity. It has to be day-to-day. There has to be a formal process of recognition, which can be more metric-led or can be distributed among the managers. But you should also have informal options, which can be more peer-to-peer related, or even you should recognize maybe the people who are appreciating others, who are creating that positive culture, who are the change agents. They should also be recognized. And then there's approval-based recognition, which can be used for bigger awards like CEO award, quarterly awards, and other things. And building the culture starts from the top. So today, again, one of the major gap is that CHROs and CEOs themselves don't recognize employees. And that doesn't create the right culture. Because the moment CXOs or leaders start doing it themselves, others will follow. And second thing most of the managers have to keep in mind is that recognition should not be lumped with negative feedback. Both are two different activities. When you tell someone that this was great, but this could have been made better, the whole recognition point goes away. So you have to split this conversation into two and keep feedback separate from recognition. Third, you have to make feedback a cultural value, and it doesn't mean only the senior people giving feedback to the employees, but also other way around. So you need to know what is the pulse of the organization and move accordingly. And don't wait for creating a full-fledged program. If you don't have a reward recognition program in your organization, start somewhere. Maybe start with just peer-to-peer recognitions. Now, once you've built a brilliant recognition program, it's important to understand what is the impact, whether it is working or not. The first option is very simple. You can run employee engagement surveys or ESAT surveys. Those are direct feedback methodologies. But if you do this right, within the span of 2 to 3 months, you'll start seeing difference in attendees and attendances, how many people are actively participating in the job, also towards the retention side as well. Then, if over the time, you will also start seeing improvement in customer feedback and performance rates if you are doing this right. And please be objective, because data never lies. Now, moving on to what are the key trends, I'll just try to summarize some of the key things that you're going to see in 2024 and what most of you will anyways be trying to keep up to. First, the reward and recognition has to be personalized. The one-size-fits-all, that era is gone. So you'll have to personalize according to person's requirement, both in terms of how they're recognized and how they can redeem their points as well. Second, strategies have to be differentiated across geographies, across different target group, across different age groups. Third, today most of the organizations are global. So it's very important that the recognition policy that you have also allows people to interact on a cross-country level. And this is a very good opportunity to bring DEI in the equity in the system. Like, you should encourage the classes which are underserved, and recognition can be a great way to encourage such people. Fourth, you'll have to bring gamification in the system, because again, reward and recognition cannot be transactional. It has to be a lot more than that. And of course, data is centered to everything, both in terms of how do you recognize, how to ensure that there's higher redemption rates. Data is a very important element, and you have to keep a tap on that. And the last and the most important is social media. So you'll have to allow your employees to share their recognitions over the social media. And I have spoken to multiple organizations over in my life, and I've primarily found two challenges in allowing employees to share on social media. First is very much solvable, which is like employers are afraid that employee will share something confidential while sharing on a platform. And that's where a platform like ours can play a role, where we can ensure that only the recognition is going and none of the personal data is going on a social media. But the second one is even bigger one. That's more about insecurity that a lot of HRs, a lot of managers have, that if people post recognition on maybe LinkedIn, then they will get poached. They'll get offers from other people. In today's world, everyone is anyways getting offers from multiple companies. You can't stop that. I always tell my people that if you only want more money, you'll always find an organization who's willing to pay that. So as an organization, it's your job to give that security and environment and feel secure yourself to allow people to share recognition on their social media wall as well. I'll close this presentation by saying what Mr. Doug said. To win at the marketplace, first you have to win at the workplace. Thank you, guys.